Welcome back to another episode of Two Joes and the Pro. We're getting straight into it, man. I'm pumped up today. Brian and Ryan is trying to get under my skin. They're over here saying some, pre-show saying some BS, right? So let's. I'm not even going to ask them how their week is because I don't even care because we're getting straight to it. I want to talk about. I'm talking about basketball. Let me not be rude, guys. How y'all doing?
We're good.
Okay, cool. All right, NBA. A lot's been going on. It's the NBA playoffs. We had the play-ins last week. That was a little exciting. I was talking to a friend of mine. I was telling him, I'm like, man, if the Timberwolves and the Pelicans get in, I said more so the Pelicans. I knew the Timberwolves was going to be a hard feat, but I just said if the Pelicans get in, they're going to be one of the teams underneath the radar that people are sleeping on. Right, the addition of C.J. McCollum is such a great piece that they picked up, just having a bona fide scorer, and he proved that last night. And the Lakers did the most bonehead ever with trading Brandon Ingram. Like, he has fully developed into a all-star player and border level superstar, I might say, right? If you watched him yesterday play, it was like the man is a little silent assassin. He reminds me of like how people were talking about Jason Tatum, because Jason Tatum's a superstar now, right? Jason Tatum 2 years ago, when you see like the greatness, you're like, damn, he's scary. He's almost there. He's scary. That's how I see Brandon Ingram. And they don't even have Zion playing, and I think it's a good thing, right? I think Zion would clog up the hole and take away from everybody else's greatness. They got
literally,
yeah, right. Actually, he lost some weight. He looks pretty good. They got Herb Jones, a rookie from I believe from Arkansas, coming up strong. They got like 3 rookies that are playing really well for the Pelicans, right? The Suns, they started off good. They blew the Pelicans out the first game, I believe. And then I know Devin Booker got hurt yesterday with the hamstring injury, so that's going to be a little mixy as far as the series go, just because he's a vital piece, right? He had 31 at halftime yesterday. Like, boy's a bucket, right? Nobody was guarding him. He was getting whatever he wanted. He was out there looking like an N1 mixtape tour, right? So without him, you can see that the Suns really struggled a lot. They weren't producing enough points because he's a volume scorer, right? Getting into the Memphis series, that was pretty. I guess it's pretty intense because Patrick Beverley and John Morant's kind of been going at it the whole time, right? Really, Patrick Beverley's name's always coming out when it comes to with like some drama or some beef, right? But Minnesota stole one at the first game. They stole one, and then Memphis blew them out pretty bad the second game, right? So a lot of people, after they lost the first game, they were kind of Memphis out, like, oh yeah, this is the Memphis of old. They're gonna fold. But John Morant said, keep that energy. If y'all were hating on us yesterday or the last game after we lost, don't come back now. Keep that energy, right? So we see that, and then the Warriors. I said it. I think me and Brian talked about it a couple weeks back. I said, man, they're going to be scary having Klay Thompson coming on and then Jordan Poole finding himself. Like, the best thing happened was having that year off. Everybody, they're kind of like slumping. A lot of guys picking up extra minutes and developing their game because Jordan Poole has been going ape. He's been going bananas. Like, he's just been getting buckets, bro. And then they have Steph Curry coming off the bench, right? Just because he's coming back from the injury and he's still, doing Steph Curry stuff. He's not dropping a 40 piece, but 18, 20 is good when you got Jordan Poole dropping 30, right? Klay Thompson still balling, Draymond Green still doing this thing, right? So I still think that that got to be Brian. I still think that the Warriors are the team to beat in the West, right? I think for sure they're the team to beat in the West. And then I think I'm missing one game, but it's probably not important. What's game I'm missing?
Celtics.
No. I'm talking about on the West Coast. I'm missing one game on.
The West.
I'm missing one game on the West.
He's just so excited. He's just so excited.
What game am I missing?
The Jazz.
Jazz.
The Denver.
No. Denver's playing. No, they're playing the Warriors.
No,
so the Jazz.
Oh,
the Jazz and who? Golly, I just went blank.
Mavericks.
Jazz and Mavericks. Thank you. Jazz and Mavericks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Luka missed the first game.
He missed the first game, but the Mavericks ended up winning the second. right? So like I think
they're 1-1.
Yeah, the whole everybody's series is 1-1, I believe, or not 1-1. The Warriors are the only one that's not. Where everybody else is 1-1.
They're 2-0. Yeah.
And then in the Eastern Conference is actually pretty good. It's actually pretty good. I'm not going to lie. I want to save Brian's team for last because I think that's a lot of excitement of the things that's been going on in a good old Boston. Hit on the Heat. They have been playing pretty well, I think, right? I think they are a team that people are sleeping on. Jimmy Butler has been playing very well. I think they have I think they said the stat was they have the team with the highest amount of free agents that were like never drafted, undrafted free agents on their team. So they said that gives them a little grittiness, man. And I think they're playing really hard. So I think that's serious.
Oh, the Heat's up 2-0.
Yeah, they're
well.
they're up 2-0. And then 76ers are doing 76ers things, right? Like
they taking care of business.
Yeah, like I think what is surprising a lot of people is Maxi's play. You would think it'd be, Joel Embiid or something like that, but Maxi's been playing very well. And a lot of people are excited to see like what he can do and see if he can sustain that, right? I think that when it all comes down to it, Joel Embiid and definitely James Harden is going to have to step up to the plate, right? Like James Harden has to have the 20-25-10 or 25-12. He has to have that consistently for them to actually be good, right? Because Tobias Harris is a little spotty, right? He came in when he first got there, he was more consistent. He's a little spotty, right? And then talking about the Bulls and the Bucks is I don't really see the Bulls winning a game. I think they can bruise them a little bit, but I don't see them really winning a game. Like, to be honest with you, just because the Bucks are kind of in stride right now. They're like, it's a well-oiled machine right now. Giannis is out there like a man amongst boys, throwing the ball off the backboard, dunking it back, like pushing people out the way, bulldoze. He looked like a running back. He looked like me out there running through Pee Wee, right? Okay. That's what he looks like me, right? He looks at me out there doing that, right? So
that's why I said, didn't I say rematch this year?
Yeah, but that's
in the finals?
That's probably not gonna happen, bro.
Oh, not okay.
Yeah, we don't get too far ahead of yourself.
Whatever.
All right. And then the most important, I think, series is the Nets and the Celtics, right? Like I'm not even gonna prolong it anymore. The Nets and the Celtics, I think, is the most important series, just because you have two teams that could possibly win it all, right? I know the Nets could win it all. I don't know if the Celtics could necessarily win it all, but I do think they have the pieces because their defense is playing pretty well. I do think they skated through with that first game, so a lot of people are kind of like, oh, yeah, the Nets are – like they skated through by the skin of their teeth, right? Brooklyn slacked off, but guess what? A win is a win, right? The only issue, Brian, I think that you guys have is guarding Kyrie Irving. Like, I think that the biggest issue that you guys as Boston fans have is y'all talking too much shit to Kyrie Irving. Like, I wouldn't talk trash to him. I would let him just kind of marinate in his own world, right? Because when it's kind of like not interesting, it's boring. Kyrie doesn't turn up as much, right? He chill out, right? But if y'all stir the pot, there's nobody on the Celtics that can guard him. Like that game, Brian, he was cooking, and then I don't know what happened at the fourth quarter. I know he was flicking them off, and they were making him pissed off. But he started doggone hitting with the Bobby Boufflé, not Bobby Boufflé. What I'm talking about? Bobby Flay, right? Bobby Boufflé. That's a new chef with Bobby Boucher. It's a mixture. Bobby Boucher, the chef, right? But Bobby,
the water chef.
But Bobby's the water chef, right? But no, Bobby Flay, like he was out there like Bobby Flay. He was cooking, bro. He has the craziest handles of all time. I'm going on the limit saying that. It
probably,
bro. Yeah. It's like every year his handles get crazy. He does that thing when he like fake spin the ball and dribble. I'm like, how is he spinning the ball? The ball's not dribbling. He's like running and doing moves without the ball in his hand. Then he grabs the ball and then goes. I'm like, nobody's sticking that.
Well, That's because everybody carries nowadays.
That's true, but I'm saying it's hard to guard him. He had 20 something in the first half, and then had 18 in the fourth quarter. And KD had a bad night.
I know.
Right, so that.
But guess what? Tonight,
he's having a bad night tonight. He's only got
8 points.
Yeah, but
and that's the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it's 8 points in the fourth quarter. But when it comes down to it, KD, he'll do what he got to do. But Kyrie though, he's going to carry. KD's not going to slump for long, right? You can't have the Slim Reaper and one mixtape guy go crazy. You can't have that. You can't have that. It's bad for business, and they're too tall. Right, the Celtics have like
who's too tall?
The Nets. It's not Linky. Have you seen?
No, Durant's the only lanky one they got, and Claxton. I'm not worried about Claxton. Get out of here with that. Who else they got that's tall? Aldridge ain't playing. Drummond is just. I mean, he's a good rebounder. I'll give him that, but other than that, I don't think he gives them much.
Griffin doesn't,
and he gets into foul trouble. So Griffin didn't play.
I'm saying their team is long. I said they can go to the bench and grab and bring them out if they have to. I get it. I know what you're saying.
Like, you're talking about these old heads that have bad knees and they can't play more than 2 minutes at a time. I mean, come on.
Okay.
Their bench is the same problem the whole Lakers team had. They're just old. Okay, they're broken down. They're done. Yeah, what are you gonna say to that, Kenny?
I have nothing to say to that. Like, Bruce Brown he's not short, right? But I know what you're saying.
He's 6'3".
He's not short. What I'm saying, like, he's not short. Like, do you see the Heat lineup? They got Kyle Lowry. They got Buddy from what's that team? He's like 5'11", 5'10". Like, they got short players. What I'm saying, fuck all that. You making me get out of character. Bottom line, they have a tough team to compete with, and that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but don't sit there and say they're like this big team. They're not that big.
But they do have a lot of guys on their team that is pretty big. But it's whatever. But I understand what you're saying. They're not playing all the high minutes, so right. I get it. Right.
Yeah.
All right, so.
The Nets mostly have a small lineup besides Durant.
Andre Drummond, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving is short, Steph Curry is short, Bruce Bowen. They're like 6'3" range, right? Nick Claxton is linky. Patty Mills is definitely short. Dragic is short. I got you.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's all. Other than that, I feel like they're a good team. And like I said last week, whoever wins this series is going to the championship out of the East. Sure. That's my prediction.
Grant Williams is having a game. He has 17.
Yeah.
Which is good. All right. You need
Dragic had like 16 in the first half.
You need him to go back into his Tennessee bag. But yeah,
Grant Williams is like that cerebral player. He's not physically gifted at all. But he's smart and he knows where to be.
I think he's physically gifted. I don't think he's an explosive athlete. Like, he's not jumping out the gym, right? He's physically gifted. But his brain is definitely his strong piece for sure. So
yes.
But yeah, that's what I have for the exciting NBA playoffs. And I know Brian was trying to rip me apart because he's like, oh, they're not talking about. I get it. The Nets is going to beat Celtics. That's all I'm saying. That's all. That's my whole point. Okay. Forget everything I said before. The Nets is going to be Celtics in 7.
Okay. What was your guys' take on the Kyrie thing about him flipping off the fans?
I don't mind it.
And you didn't mind it?
Like, people, like Shaq, I heard on TNT, Shaq was like, hey, that's part of the game. That's what comes with it. I'm like, man, I get it, right? But we living in a different era than back then. Don't get me wrong. I know they talked trash back then, but people are like, so rude to a different level today's day. And because the level of profanity has been more acceptable, before you couldn't even say hell or ass on the radio. Now people are saying bitch on the radio and it doesn't get beeped out, right? So like, with that being said, it's a lot of words that are being said. And since we have such a crazy world, like, people say the N-word. People say like crazy shit during the game, and you would be like, oh, I'm supposed to accept it. Like, nah, man, at the end of the day, like, your skin can be so thick for so long before you just like, all right, man, fuck it, I don't care. And then Kyrie, why does he care? He's already paid a shit ton of money in fines. The NBA really is pissed off that he didn't get vaccinated anyway. So he's just like, fuck it, I do what I want to. I'm going to be an outlaw. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I just think I had no problem with anything except for don't flip the fans off. Like, it's just the optics. Like, it just makes you look like you're lowering yourself to the fans' level.
Why?
Just be better than that. That's all.
But
you can sit there and talk. I don't care.
He doesn't care about that though. He doesn't care about that.
I mean, I guess.
And we don't know exactly what the fans said, right? And people can be like, it doesn't matter what they said. You just have to be the bigger person. Man, fuck that shit. That shit is over with. That's overrated. I'm not hearing that.
Dumb.
And then the only other problem I had with Kyrie is not a lot of people I don't think know this, but like they had a video of him at I think halftime because he was in uniform, not in warm-ups. So I think it was at halftime. And a kid just yelled to him in like the hallway, "You suck, Kyrie." And Kyrie yelled back, "Suck my dick," to a kid. So I don't know.
So,
the thing is this:
what kind of parent is teaching kids to talk that way to someone like an athlete? Like
respect your elders.
You need to. It's not even respect the elders. It's like they see these people. This drives me nuts about fans. Like you see these people, these athletes on TV, and they're not real athleets. So like
it's like they're animals in their
head. They're like you. I'm
no,
not
for real.
at
That's
work.
what it is.
Like when my boss walks by, you suck.
Yeah.
You give a maybe to a friend that they know I was joking, but like someone gives a bad briefing, I'm not like, hey man, you kind of suck. Like you're not like a jerk like that, but like for some reason people get super confident and say some ridiculous crap as fans because they don't believe these people are real.
And they think that you're supposed to be like, I can tell you whatever, say whatever, and you have to just deal with it, right? Because that's part of it. It's like, no, that's not the case at all. Like,
there's a reason these players get like hate mail and like suicide, like kill notes and I'm sorry, but
Listen,
basketball would be the most difficult sport ever because at least with football, you're far away from the fans. Basketball, they're like right there, like they hear everything, like.
I mean, personally, I don't care about any of it. I just bring it up because I know people out there do care, especially like obscenities to a child. Like, even though the child did say something, like, still, I would have held my tongue.
I probably would have told the child, if I'm Kyrie Irving and I'm having a bad day, I probably would have told him to do the same thing as well, right? Like Miles Bridges, I forgot the dude said something to Miles Bridges, and he threw his mouthpiece, right, and he accidentally hit the girl, right. And he's like, damn, I didn't mean to do that. That's not on my intentions, right? But, like, at the end of the day, these are people. They have emotions, right? And you are going through the game. Nobody wants to lose. People don't want to go through that. So if you're losing shit like that, that shit gets under your skin. So that's all I got to say about that. But
and he was pissed. He was steam walking to the locker room. So, like,
mad,
I don't think he identified, like,
that's a kid.
This kid's that's a 9-year-old. He just heard, like, someone say, you suck or something like that. And just responded quickly. Yeah. So, was it unprofessional of him? Absolutely, 100%. But unfortunately, in basketball, that shit, like, for the players own the team.
Have y'all heard the mic'd up? They're like the real uncut mic'd up.
No,
man, some of the stuff that they say in there, you be like, huh? He talk like that? He like, it's just different. Right, so like just because we don't hear that part, people think like, oh man, they are great citizens and great character. They be out there like, fuck you, bitch ass, and you be like, what? Like saying every type of word. So let me not take too much time because that's 20 minutes, bro.
I don't care. I was just looking at my phone for an update.
Okay, my bad.
Listen, I don't have a problem.
I like the NBA players.
I love trash talking. I just want them to keep it to the players. You know,
well, tell the Boston fans
to shut their
keep it to themselves.
It ain't just Boston fans, but Kyrie. Listen, there's a reason why Boston fans hate Kyrie because he straight up told the season ticket holders, "I will stay if y'all will have me," and then a few months later, he's gone because he forced his way out.
Yeah.
So they got burned by.
They wouldn't have.
Yeah, they wouldn't have him. So
yes, they would have.
Hey, what's side note, right? Since y'all don't care, right? And we're gonna I'll keep it going. What is the biggest trash talker of all time?
Ooh. I mean, listen, I might be called a homer for this, but I think Larry Bird might be one of the worst trash talkers ever. I'm just saying.
No, I'm not going to disagree with that. I heard
Listen, he yelled at. He told a coach one time in a game, "You better not be putting that white boy on me," because he felt like slighted by it because they put a white guy on him. Like that. Like he said stuff like that. Like, You can't guard.
I heard an interview with Gary Payton, right? Because Gary Payton is the guy I'm saying who's the number one trash talker of all time, in my opinion.
He's one of them.
But he was saying that, in his book, Larry Bird is the number one trash talker with him. Because Larry Bird goes like, "Yeah, boy, I'm about to take you and bust your ass," da 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 da, like, and then hoop and then really be in your ear, right? And everybody's like, "Larry?" He's like, "Yeah, Larry say some shit to you, like you don't even know he'll say some shit in your ear." Right? He said that's how it was. He said Larry be really in your ear, like you pop in your mouth and Larry right back at you, right? And then
I think we talked about mine is Mike Tyson. That dude.
Yeah, Mike Tyson says
like, yeah, I mean, stuff. It's a different sport, but like he says some wild shit, and like people don't remember it. That dude, he was dominant for the amount of time that he was boxing.
Yeah,
and
that's fair.
He was like talking trash, and then he'd turn around and back it up. So like between him and like Muhammad Ali was the same way.
I eat your heart. Like what? Like, hey.
I think they try to nip a lot of the trash talking, and they try to nip it in the bud. Nowadays, like on the court.
I think they just
like because I feel like Garnett's one of the last ones to like really go at people. Like he used to say like crazy shit about people's moms and stuff, and just he would get under their skin on purpose.
Yeah,
I feel like that's part of it, man. That's part of the game, like getting psychological. Like
I heard something. They asked Gary Payton what's the craziest stuff he said, and he said that he told somebody, he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm with your girl," or whatever like that. And he was like, "Yeah, I fucked your mom and I did this to her and I her head through the wall and I'm da 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 da," and I was punching the shit. Like I was like the stuff that he was saying, it was like, what? And he was like, "Nah, man." He said like if they thought they could take it there, I would take it there, and I would just watch their game crumble after that. Cause then I would look up like who they actually relatives is, like who they family members is, and really know. And then really start calling them by name, like, nah, yeah, I know Shorty. She said that. It's like, what? He did like a whole investigation. That's crazy.
I mean, look, I like that as long as you're only using it for in-game purposes. Like,
yeah.
Like at the end of the game, you'd be able to shake hands with the guy, and be like, "Hey, I didn't."
He's
mean
like, nah, he didn't say he didn't mean any of that. He's just like, bro, it's part of the game. Like, I'm not tripping about it, right? He's like, man, I'm from Oakland, so if they get mad and they want to take it there, we can take it there. But like, it's all for the game. I'm trying to win, right? So, yeah. But yeah, that's all I got for basketball. So I appreciate you guys let me have a little mini episode in the episode.
Hey, it's all good. We contributed. Hey, so we're just gonna get quickly to baseball. We're into the second week of baseball. We got all the way until September, the end of September. So buckle up. It's a long season. Anyways, right now the AL East is 4 teams are battling it out for first place right now. They're all within a half game of each other. Actually, 3 of them are tied at the top right now. You got the Red Sox, Yankees, and Blue Jays tied, and the Rays are half a game back. We're not going to talk about the O's because they suck.
Facts.
I mean, they do. They're probably the worst team in the league.
I'm surprised they've won 4 though. That's pretty good.
Well, they took 2 out of 3 against the Yankees. So
like they always beat the Yankees. That pisses me off all the time.
I know.
They always beat the Yankees. I don't understand why now. This is like their 4th or 5th year in a row just sucking. So like, why haven't they changed anything?
Well, baseball takes a lot longer to draft and develop, which is what they've been trying to do.
4 years though.
Yeah, I mean the only real guys that they've had come up like recently is Cedric Mullins, which he's like a borderline all-star right now. And then they got the catcher coming out, Rauschman. He might be up. He was up a little bit last year, but he's supposed to be one of the next like best catchers in the league. So it just takes a long time, man. When you get drafted at 18. And, you're not hitting the majors until 21, 22, and that's early. Yeah. So it just takes a while. Let's see. The Central, AL Central, you got Cleveland and Chicago taking the top honors right now. You got the Angels, even though Shohei Ohtani is slumping at the plate to start the season, but he has been pitching very well. And they're at the top right now of the West. It's too early to say. Yeah. Get back to me at like July. Let's see the NL. We got the Mets are already walking away with the division. They're up 3.5 games, but again, that can easily be caught back up, so it's not a big lead yet. St. Louis and Milwaukee are the top 2 teams in the Central, and then of course you got the Dodgers in the West. But Colorado and San Diego are hanging around, and so is San Francisco. So the NL West is going to be a very tough division again this year, like it was last year.
See the Rockies trying to make a little push on.
Yeah, for now. I mean, it's
not sustainable.
Unfortunately no, it's not, because like they could have the best pitchers in the world, and the fact that they play in Colorado for 81 games, it's a severe disadvantage for them defensively, because the ball just carries so much more in Coors Field. So, and they don't have the lineup to stay with some of these bigger teams.
I watched a video the other day. It was talking about Yankee Stadium, how like there is a position in the field that, like, of all like the stadiums in the MLB, that is the only place that a home run will be, like, based on like the distance. Like it's the shortest right distance for a home run. Yeah, that's kind of like that's like an unfair advantage. Like,
I mean, well, but it's within.
I guess both teams get to benefit from it.
It's within whatever measurements the MLB dictates for a field to be a certain size. I think that they go by. Don't quote me on this, but I believe they go off of like square footage of some sort.
Center field is long as hell.
In the outfield. Right, that's what I mean. Like look at Fenway Park though. Like it's very short at right and left, but center field's 420. You know, and they also have the wall in left field for the
420. So, there you go. Light up.
Happy 420. But I believe that they just go off square footage in order to dictate how big a field has to be. So the Yankees chose a short porch in right field. Plus, I think that historically, I think the wind blows that way too a lot more for New York. So they wanted all the advantage they could get.
You like that? I brought something to the table.
You did.
Yeah, I do. I appreciate that.
Right field's 314, hockey, we got left field 318, center field's 408.
Yeah. It's short.
Yeah. My bad. Go ahead.
But all right, let's just move on to hockey real quick. So a couple teams have been sliding in the East. Like I said, the East is locked up for playoffs. They're just battling position. But you got Carolina and the Bruins have slid. So they're not looking good. You know, they're looking cold going into the playoffs, which is going to be coming up in about a week or week and a half, somewhere around there. So that's not a good look for those two teams, anybody that's following those two teams. And then real quick in the West, I had it up and then I closed it.
Only 4 teams have clinched so far.
Yeah, right? Mathematically, but...
Yeah, I was just saying.
So anyways, wait, no, in the East, all of the teams have clinched.
The West.
Oh, the West.
You had transitioned.
I didn't know you had transitioned with me, Ryan. I appreciate your support, though.
Hey, look, I did some homework today.
Yeah. Oh man. So anyways, the West.
You want me to do it? Like, jeez.
Well,
like,
my phone is spazzing out right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, go figure. I just did an update on it. It's friggin' going wild. But anyways,
properly prepared.
Nashville and Dallas right now are the 2 wild card spots, but both Vegas and Vancouver are hanging around at 87 points. They're only 4 points back. Five games to go. So I mean, they still have a shot. Winnipeg, I would go ahead and say they're done. They're at 81 points. They're probably going to eliminate it in a night or two. And then the Kings could slide into the wild card spot. We'll see how that plays out, but I think they're going to solidify their position in the playoffs pretty soon. Yeah, and then you got the playoffs. When we get to the playoffs, I'll probably put out like I'll try to find like a little competition. Like you can do a competition basically like the NCAA bracket, but we can do it with the hockey where we just predict all of our.
Did they reseed after
wins. Or? I mean, I can't remember. I don't think hockey reseeds, but I'll have
Two
to double
Joes in a
check
pro
that. But
hockey
anyways,
bracket madness.
yeah, man. Hey, man,
Yeah.
just put a little fan fun out there. You know, maybe we can.
I just saw.
Maybe we can throw a little
I
prize
just
out there
read
or something. We'll see.
baseball. It's 325. It has to be the minimum to either left or right field, one of them, right? And then 400 has to be the minimum for center field. If
What was the Yankee Stadium?
I thought you said Yankee Stadium was both. It was 315 and 314. I thought you said,
my bad. I gotta go back.
which would go against that.
No. I can go back to that.
Center was over 400. It was like 408.
Yeah, it was 409.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Center is but it's one of them can be right. So it's 408, 318. No, left center is 399. Left field 318. Right field 314. Yeah, it definitely goes against that. I don't know how they did that. It definitely goes against that.
They paid MLB off or something.
I'm just reading off the MLB glossary, field dimensions. Anyway, to football.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, Yankees.
Oh, we done with hockey?
Yeah. We'll probably put out a bracket for him in a couple weeks.
Hey, Celtics are pulling away. By the way,
Bro, don't worry about it.
I know.
They're up 10 with a minute and a half left.
Oh, it's done.
Where was I? All right, AJ Green signed with the Cardinals on a 1-year deal. He also came out and said that there's a lot of work to be done with regards to chemistry with Kyler. So,
What does that mean?
not too happy. Just means that Kyler sucks.
Who said that?
Dang.
Hey, did I state this last week about the Colts signing Stephon Gilmore to a 2-year deal?
Yeah, I don't think we need the money at the time.
We talked about him.
No, we didn't talk about Coach signing Stephon Gilmore.
We talked about him visiting. He was visiting, and then Brian said he's gonna go with whoever pays him the most.
Yep.
And then he signed 2-year deal. The deal's worth $23 million. Not that much on a 2-year deal, so I'm sure most of it's guaranteed.
So would you say that Belichick was correct in not giving him a big deal and letting him go?
Belichick is normally never wrong when he lets his player go. So I'm not gonna ever say, "Oh no, Belichick messed up." I don't know. Name one person that he messed up and let go besides Tom Brady.
Brady.
Well, that's a big one.
But
he misread the quarterback market.
Yeah, but I'm saying
I think he accurately was like, okay, yeah, nobody wants you, which he was almost
Jamie
correct.
Collins.
But what do you mean, Jamie Collins?
Didn't he have good years with
the Browns?
No. As soon as he left New England, he was trash.
Say he fell off.
No. It's Chandler Jones. It's the dude that went to Arizona.
He definitely messed up on Chandler Jones. He did.
But Belichick didn't ever like Chandler Jones because Chandler Jones didn't play the edge. He just wanted to get sacks, which is cool, but that's not Belichick's style. He wants you to set the edge and keep contained.
Well, you asked me who he was wrong about. He was wrong about
You're
him.
right. Continue.
It was a style difference, but anyways.
Okay. Whatever. All right, hold up. I'm going to get to the other stuff. We talked about Dwayne Haskins last week. I saw a report that said that he had run out of gas, so that's what he was doing on the road.
Damn, that's even worse.
Still messed up.
You got to call like a tow truck or something. Don't.
Who knows?
I'm
man.
sorry, but I mean.
Yeah. The Browns made a big signing. They signed Denzel Ward, their cornerback, for 5 years, 100 mil. Well, 100.5.
Why did they give him so much money?
He's
I don't
pretty
know,
good.
man.
He's good, but he had one good year, right? With last year,
Yeah.
but it's like the highest paid. They said the highest paid cornerback in the league is like what? He's not better than Jalen Ramsey.
No.
Come on, man.
He's not better. No.
I'm just saying, like, it's a lot of corner. I don't know if it's a lot of corner. It's a few corners that is better than him. But
the problem is that I bet you. I mean, I don't have it in front of me, so I can't tell you. But I imagine that Brown's front office, because I don't know how much longer he had left on his deal, his rookie contract. But they're probably see the cornerback market because Jaire Alexander's has to still sign. So like they're probably just getting scared of like, well, if we don't pay him now, then that jump is gonna, like, people that sign after Rodgers signed, like, this dude just signed a $50 million a year contract.
Yeah.
Like, any quarterback that's getting ready to sign, that's the next up and coming. They're gonna be asking for $50 million a year.
Yeah. I don't know.
So I guess they're trying to get ahead of it. And the Browns are, which I'm surprised, they're paying them, and then they still have to pay Amari Cooper. They're paying a fully guaranteed Deshaun Watson. So
they got some money in Cleveland.
I guess so. I don't know what they're gonna do. They probably won't re-sign Nick Chubb at some point. Like,
I mean, history has shown you don't want your running back at big money.
I know, but I love Nick Chubb.
Oh, I know. He's a great
He's such
player.
a pure runner. Like,
If anybody,
he's one of my favorite.
He has
running
the
backs.
durability though of AP as far as like lasting in the league after injuries because of how hard he works in the offseason. He still works in the offseason like he's in high school or college. Like, he's still out there power cleaning 480, like all these weights, squatting, all that. Like, most NFL players are not doing that, right? Because they're like, listen, I don't need to put that stress on my body. But he's still training his body like that, right? So I think he still can, last 5-6 years in the league, right? So.
Oh, I think he'll last that long. It's just whether or not the Browns
Browns
justify spending him the money on a running back that they feel like they could get somewhere else. And someone will give him money.
Oh, yeah. Somebody will. But if you're on a team that has a whole lot of talent like the Browns do, that they're paying a lot of money to, they just can't afford a running back at that caliber.
That's true.
Yeah. So the Packers had some options. They're really missing Devontae Adams. They saw Julio Jones on the market, and they said, nah, he's washed up. They see Will Fuller out there. He's like, no, he's going to get injured real quick. They see Jarvis Landry out there. They're like, I think he's too good to be true. And they went and signed the best option that they could possibly think of, which apparently is Sammy Watkins. So Watkins is in Green Bay. So yeah, that should be interesting.
Why is nobody? That's whatever. I'm not gonna.
Jarvis is visiting the Saints, so I like Jarvis. I think he's
I
good,
don't understand why Aaron Rodgers wouldn't partition or put his bid in for Jarvis. Like, he's going to be in the slot. That's where you like to go to the most, right? That's like your new Randall Cobb, right? Like, I just don't get that. I don't understand that at all.
If the Packers do not draft a wide receiver in the first round, I would love. I just want to. I hope they don't.
Nah, if they don't though, at this point, like, you gave him all this money, you are committed to Aaron Rodgers, so you need to make him happy, right?
Yeah,
you got to.
Well, apparently he knew they were going to trade Devontae. He was like okay with it, I guess.
I think they should go after Debo.
Well, okay, I guess you're going to go ahead and go after my next statement. Yeah. Debo is requesting a trade from the 49ers. Thanks for messing with my transition, Brian. How about you let me control my segment, and then I'll let you do yours.
Sorry, you just weren't getting to it quick enough.
So I go in order of how things are occurring. I want these people to experience the week with us like we've experienced it with the news. Anyways, Deebo Samuel has requested a trade. He's unwilling to engage in contract talks with the 49ers. Not sure what it's about. Why?
Not enough money.
Why they're? Yeah,
not enough money.
I imagine it's not enough money, and maybe he doesn't think very highly of Trey Lance. Because I will say this: there was buzz in the offseason last year that Trey Lance had better chemistry with Brandon Ayuk, and obviously it's just camp buzz, and that was a reason why because I thought Trey Lance would have played a little bit more in his rookie year. And that's why I was figuring Ayuk would be a little bit better.
That's
Plus,
his excuse,
bro. Had a good season. Yeah.
So basically, what you're saying, Ryan, is Debo sees that it's Ayuk's team now. Okay.
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that
again.
Debo sees that Trey Lance maybe can't get him the ball the same way that but
it doesn't matter though. If he gets his money, he gets his money, right? If he gets his money, and he gets the guarantee what he wants. Cool. I just think that they're not going to give him a lot of money because he was playing running back, right? So they're like, well, if you want to play this little tweener position, yeah, you're not going to get receiver money even though you're playing a running back. He's like, oh, I can do both. It's like, yeah, I get it, but your durability is not going to last as long if you're taking all these carries in the backfield, bro. So,
I still think that's insane because I think he had 1,400 yards receiving last year.
Yeah, but how can he keep that up again? I doubt it. He can't. He can't. Because guess what? When it happens 1 year, that's possible. But when they have game planning now, they have a whole year of film of you running these different plays and know what you like to do, know your moves. It's hard to replicate that thing twice. It's hard to do.
It is hard, and that's why he wants to get his money now, especially the way Debo is, because he usually gets injured. Mm-hmm. And last year was a fluke where he's like, all right, so he's doing right by him by saying, like, I need to get a contract. Yeah. And the 49ers feel like, okay, well, we're not going to, like, outright pay you $20 million a year receiver money for a guy that could potentially get hurt. Mm-hmm. Anyways, everyone could get hurt. I'd be interested to see where he lands. I highly doubt I think the Packers, you're right, should go after him. But it's too much of a like a showy move for them to even, like, if it's like glamorous, the Packers are like, nah, we out. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, so I highly doubt they do it. And the 49ers have stated that they don't care if this guy sits out. They want a king's ransom if for this guy. So you're gonna have to give up a first, probably 2, just to get him.
Mm-hmm.
Giants will probably trade for his dumbass. Hate my life. All right, and then that's it. And then Baker, I don't know what's going on with him. He's not gonna go to workouts and.
No, but did you see? Did you see? They were talking about the Panthers are going to talk to get Baker, right? And then Robbie, shout out to Robbie.
Hit your boy up. Hit your boy. He's like, no.
He said no. Everybody, all the guys are sending in like, yo, he's too funny. He's like, no. Nah.
I hope they do get him.
I thought that was too funny. Man.
Well, I mean, the Panthers named Darnold already as their starter. So.
Oh man.
At least Ben McAdoo did.
Golly. Anyway.
Hey, the Eagles have decided they're going to go with Jalen Hurts again this year, which I think is a fine move. I think that they give him I'm not a big fan of Jalen Hurts.
Who they're going to go with? Gardner Minshew?
No. That's why they traded their pick, right? Didn't they trade back with someone?
The Saints, yeah.
Yeah, they traded back with the Saints. So, like, I think it's a good move for them. And the Howie Roseman, their GM, he's good, man. He's always been a good GM, but we'll see how they do this year. I don't think Jalen Hurts is that good. But
man, cut it out.
He's good in fantasy.
Anyway, is that it for football?
Yeah, man, that's it.
All right, we'll switch things up a little bit. I want to get you guys' thought process. This is what I've been waiting for, man. So I know we're running on time, so let's get straight into it. Who is the greatest coach of all time, right? My blood is still boiling, right? It's just simmering right now. So let's get to it. Go ahead. Piss me off. Let's do it.
I know most about football, so I'm just going to go with Don Shula. He's got the most wins. I think he has like 30. He coached for like 33 seasons as a head coach. Yeah, he doesn't have as many Super Bowl wins as like a Belichick, but he's a winningest coach. But the thing that's going to piss Kenny off the most is that I said that Belichick will go down as the greatest coach of all time when he hangs it up.
No way.
Because I think he is not going to hang it up until he wins without Brady. This guy will die on the sidelines until he wins a Super Bowl without Brady.
Because he ain't doing it.
Oh, dang.
There's
no faith in your boy?
He's not doing it, bro. The only reason why Bill Belichick is at the level that he is at right now is because of Tom Brady. You had the greatest quarterback of all time. Of course, the coach is going to be one of the greatest coaches of all time because he is tied to that player's success, right? Game plan-wise, Bill Belichick is a mastermind. Don't get me wrong, right? But what he's showing you is that he's not as brilliant as everybody thought that he was, because Tom Brady is the GOAT. Tom Brady has shown that I can go wherever I want to go and I can be successful. He's shown that. If it wasn't for the dumbass defense, this year they'd have been in the Super Bowl again. Right? Like,
look,
come on, man.
I don't disagree with you necessarily, Kenny, on the fact that yes, Brady's the GOAT, but he wasn't the GOAT when they were winning championships early on. Bro. And so Belichick has a huge hand in that.
Brady never threw more than he never threw over 30 touchdowns until 2007 when he had Randy Moss. So and they had already won 3 Super Bowls at that time. Yeah. So Brady, don't get me wrong,
a few coaches that's won 3 Super Bowls and they're not considered the greatest of all time. Cut it out. All right, I get it. He won three Super Bowls at that point, but that's because you won 3 Super Bowls as a coach doesn't mean you're the greatest coach of all time, right?
But you can't sit there and say that it was all Brady this whole time either.
He also won a couple.
Who was the quarterback at that time?
Coach of the Giants.
Who was the quarterback at that time? Was it not Tom Brady?
Listen, here's the difference. Here's the difference, Kenny. If Belichick was coaching Tampa this year, they win the Super Bowl. So without Belichick, Brady has less rings. How do you figure? Just like without Brady, Belichick has less rings.
You can't prove
they
that,
needed
Brian.
each other.
You can't say they needed each other. That's a lie. Because Brady proved that wrong last year.
So a Belichick's defense is going to go ahead and put a safety on the best receiver on the Rams at the end of the game? Oh, okay.
I don't know.
First of all,
chose to kick the ball in overtime. So
regular season against the Jets.
That's a coaching
because
decision.
He's trying to be a
It
dick.
doesn't matter.
He also decided to bench his best cornerback in the Super Bowl.
He did that,
and then brings him back to his team.
Yes, you're right.
All right, man.
So yeah, he does bonehead plays.
So is it Bill Belichick or is it Don Shula?
It's Don Shula. It's Don Shula right now. It's currently Don Shula.
It's not Don Shula.
Who is it, Brian?
I mean, if we're just football,
no, we're saying who's yours.
I'm saying Belichick.
We know you're gonna say Belichick because you're a homer.
No, not just because I'm a homer.
Belichick has never had an undefeated season like Don Shula has.
Yes, he did. He just didn't win the Super Bowl. That's all.
That's not. Hey, he's got to get it done.
He actually won more games in a row. So
an undefeated season doesn't make you the greatest coach of all time just because you did it.
No, it doesn't.
I'm not saying it does. I'm just adding it as another
That's
statistic.
what the debate is, though.
Here's the thing.
Here's why I'm just adding that as against Belichick. That's another additional thing against Belichick.
Here's why Belichick is way better than Shula will ever be, and it's because Belichick has done it during free agency period, where Shula never had to worry about free agents, like losing free agents. So he could draft his talent. So if he was a good drafter, he never had to worry about his players leaving. Belichick has to deal with way more now than Don Shula ever had to.
So
what are we gonna name the trophy after Belichick now?
There's people that have already said
Vince
that they
Lombardi
should.
Off?
I mean, there's people out there that say they should.
Look, I'm fine with it because Belichick will end as the greatest head coach, but he is not done yet.
Go ahead, Brian.
All right.
Go ahead, Brian.
I didn't choose Belichick.
It sounds like it. It sounds like this is.
I knew everybody was gonna jump all over my case if I did. So I went with John Wooden. And here's the reason why.
Get him, Brett. Kenny. Get him, Kenny.
He won 10 championships in a 12-year period. And Kenny's going to go ahead. Kenny's going to go ahead and say, there's no competition. There was no competition back then. None.
You're damn sure right there was no competition. Continue.
Bro,
I'm not gonna, I want you to continue. I don't want to cut you off of your segment.
You had good Kansas teams back then. You had good Kentucky teams back then. Don't sit there and say
name
you
one
didn't
player.
have any competition. Bro, I don't know the players off the top of my head. I don't know where they went to school.
You can't tell me there was good Kansas team and good Kentucky teams when you won 10 out of 12.
I mean,
cut it out.
Listen, there's a reason why there's a damn award named after him. Okay.
Yeah, because of the leadership.
Okay, isn't that part of being a great coach?
I didn't say it wasn't. I didn't say he wasn't a great coach.
Okay.
I didn't say he wasn't the greatest coach of all time.
Also, we're talking about back in an era where, yeah, you still had like some teams that were really good at recruiting, but recruiting usually happened more locally than it did nationally. You didn't have as often times where guys would go from the East Coast in high school and go to a West Coast team like UCLA. So he was mostly recruiting from just the West Coast area.
Does West Coast not have good players?
I didn't
California
say that.
The big ass state?
But what I'm saying is,
is California not a big ass state? Like, what are you talking about?
It's warm in California. You can play basketball
year round. Like, what are we talking about?
Okay.
You didn't play. It's not.
It's an indoor sport.
It's not North Dakota State. Like,
this is why I didn't pick a guy like Coach K, which I fully think is a great coach as well. However, I think he had an upper hand when it came to recruiting, because nowadays you can recruit more nationally. And the opportunity for getting blue chip prospects is much higher.
You can't penalize someone for the time frame.
And when Coach K got there, he made Duke what Duke was. Nobody was talking about Duke when he was there, before he got there.
Yeah, and nobody's talking about UCLA before or after John Wooden. So what?
UCLA is a powerhouse. I get it, right? He won national championships back when you had Kareem, you had Bill Walton. They're on your team. There wasn't too many 7-footers just walking around that was skillful like those dudes. It wasn't too many of them. So by trade, right, the game of basketball has progressed. People have got better. Back then, people couldn't even dribble with their damn left hand correctly. People were like, oh, but they weren't as good.
Oh, stop.
No, for real.
No,
people were dominant dribbling, right? They weren't dribbling with their offhand really well, right? They were doing rinky-dink stuff, right? They weren't, fadeaway three. They wasn't doing all that. Kareem was a baller.
Okay, you can't penalize a guy for a certain time and you coached him.
I'm not penalizing. I'm just saying he's not the greatest.
Yes, you are.
No. I'm not penalizing
him because
I'm penalizing the players in a time frame of saying he's the greatest coach of all time.
Well, listen. Everybody had the same player pool to choose from.
No, because you said they couldn't go across state. So if you think about it, California was one of the biggest states, so they couldn't do that, right? They have a big ass pool of people they couldn't go across.
Wait, so you think the West Coast?
Getting on buses.
You think the West Coast has the best players
for basketball?
Is that what you're trying to say? Yeah.
Right now, they have a majority of them. A lot of the best players in the nation is on the West Coast.
I mean, okay, nowadays yes, because they got all those damn prep schools over there. That
I don't know back in the day because I wasn't born in.
I love you asked the question like it was like you were gonna win, and then you ended up agreeing with it.
Yeah. Like I wasn't born back in the day, so I can't speak to that, right? I can just speak to right now, right? So all I'm saying, John Wooden would be number 2 in my book, right? I'm a little biased because I'm a Roll Tide fan. So I'm not gonna say Bear Bryant, right? And Nick Saban's gonna say Bear Bryant because he wants to be modest and say, yeah, he's still the greatest coach in my book. I get it, but Saint Nick is the greatest coach of all time. Like,
nope.
You can say no all you want to, right? But the difference between him and Bill Belichick is this. Get it? Bill Belichick has done it at the NFL level. I get it. Nick Saban had a chance to do it in NFL. He didn't like it. He went back. Cool. You got to the first thing you have to know where you're good at, what you're good at, right? And when it's too much for you, you got to be man enough to say, "Hey, man, this is too much for me." You can't be too prideful. And Nick Saban wasn't. He said, "Man, this is not for me. I'm gonna go back to where I'm successful at." And he went back to college, right? And I don't think people understand that it's easier, right, to run an NFL team than it is to run a college team. Why? Because one, you actually get paid for it, and you do nothing else but play football. The other, you have to deal with classes. You got to deal with, people being, not saying that NFL players are not immature because you do have that, but you have
players don't have to go to class.
What?
Just kidding.
What? You have to deal with
Alabama.
You have to deal with classes. You got to deal with practice. You have to deal with study hall. Right? I don't think people understand like a college athlete's day is so jam packed with all this different stuff, right? That it's very hard to keep their mind focused week in and week out. And for him to do it for the long period that he has done it, every year consistently, every year Alabama's always in it. Every single year Alabama's always in it. Even if in the beginning of the year they're like, oh, they're not good, they don't have enough. He finds a way to get them. He finds a way and it's the SEC, right? It's not the.
I will agree that it is harder as a coach to coach young men trying to become grown men than it is to coach grown men. Because, like, Bill Belichick has it a little easier because it's like you just go after their wallet, like their paycheck. Like these, but I will say this, the college coaches have the upper hand with these young athletes because they're like, Because if they don't get playing time, then they don't get put on tape and they can't get drafted, because the end goal is they want to get paid in like the NFL.
So you think?
So like they have a little bit of.
You think that makes
like, pressure?
You would think that makes college players more like, hey man, you got to do right so you can play. Half of these dudes don't even think like that. Half of these dudes is thinking day to day. They're not thinking about going to the league. They're like, bro, I gotta wait 3 years anyway, right? So you're gonna have 2.5 years of fuck ups, and then their junior year they're gonna be like, oh, gotta get right. I gotta get right because I can get drafted this year, and then they clean the act up, right? So from a freshman to sophomore, they know they're not going anywhere, right? So you deal with a lot of BS, and kids, at the end of the day, you still have to deal with their ego. Right, like you said, in NFL level, you tax the pockets. At the college level, it's like, I got a big ego. I play for Alabama. We just beat LSU, or we just beat this team. Boom, you got boosters giving out money. Now they can. Before, in the back in the day, you couldn't. Or not back in a couple years ago, you couldn't give money. But there's many people was handing money. You had to deal with all this stuff. All these boosters money, all the booster money they have Alabama. I'm not saying people's names, but it's people that I know that have, hey, here you go. You hungry? And there ain't lunch in there. It ain't lunch meat in there. Okay? So, like, you have to deal with a lot of different things and try to keep people's focus. And for them to do it every year, for him to be like the doggone the ghost of Christmas past, everybody's like, oh, shit. Oh, Nick. I got to deal with Nick Saban. And win as many national championships as he has. He's going to be the greatest. He's the greatest coach of all time right now in my book, right? But he's not done yet. But it's... For him to do it, man, I don't even know. I don't even think people realize, like, what he's doing is unprecedented, right? Like, every single year, there's nobody else that has done it for this long besides John Wooden. But the only difference between John Wooden and him is John Wooden was playing had guys back in the day when he had the greatest players and they didn't have any competition. To compare to now, it's a lot of competition. And people go say, oh, they have a number one recruiting class. That's not every year. Look at the rankings for the last 10 years. How many years Alabama was number one, right? Every year they're not number one, right? So, like, I get it. And just because you're number one doesn't mean those players pan out. Look at the NFL draft. Not every number one player is actually good, right? So that's just my thought process. I know I kind of swamped y'all with all this information, and y'all don't really have any rebuttals because y'all agree with me, but that's the energy I'm coming with. Oh, say Nick, number one.
All right, here we go. All right, so from 2005, USC, 2006 USC, and I'm just gonna keep going. Yeah. Florida Gators, Miami, LSU, Gators, and then Alabama, Georgia, Georgia. Now we present. That's number one recruiting class.
Not every year has been Alabama. I don't know what you're reading for. Not every year has been Alabama because Texas A&M.
College football recruiting class since 2005.
For what source? What source? Because if you look at multiple, they're gonna have. It's like Tableau. What?
It's a consolidated stats.
I know Tableau. That's some data science stuff. So anyway, I'm saying.
That's what I got data science up here.
Okay,
bro.
This is what I'm saying. It's like an Equifax score. Right? I mean, it's like a credit score. You gonna have the Equifax. You gonna have TransUnion. You have multiple different scores, right? You have to do the average of them, right? Because Scout has their own different thing. A lot of people, ESPN has their own different thing. A lot of people have different ratings, right? 24/7 has their own different thing. I get it. And you still got the, even if that's said, that's even more testament. And you still going out there recruiting your ass off, getting the best recruits. And you got to deal with all them egos coming in. You got all the top 5 stars, and they're not coming in here listening. They the man in their school. You think they coming in like, oh yeah, we're gonna listen to whatever you say? No, I want to play, coach. I'm the best in the nation. Anyway,
Alabama, Georgia,
Alabama, Georgia. Hey, that's a song. Alabama, yeah. Anyway, what do you guys have to say to that? Or I'm closing this out.
Nah, I like Nick Saban. I like everyone's pick.
Right, Brian? You looking like you looking at something, or are you looking at the Celtics winning?
The Celtics already won. Okay. First of all, they're up 2-0. And I said Celtics in 5 to Kenny, just so y'all know.
That's definitely not.
But anyways,
that's not happening, bro.
No, I ain't got nothing else right now. You know, it's all good. You can sit there and go with your homer pick, Kenny. See, I went outside the box a little bit. I went outside my comfort zone.
But did you?
I'm just saying. I went with I went with a winner. That's what I went with.
You went with a winner, but spent 10 minutes talking about Bill Belichick.
Well, he's also a winner, Kenny.
Anyway, guys, like always, man, we appreciate y'all tuning in. Subscribe on all the social media accounts. I say this every week. Continue to share. Send it to your friends. We love, doing this week in and week out. We hope you guys enjoyed as much as we do. We'll see you guys next week, when we are doing the NFL draft, mock draft. Brian, NFL mock draft is occurring next week.
Oh, we're going to do that?
Week. Yeah,
okay.
Sweet. So we're doing that next week, and we hope you guys like it. So, peace.